Hey guys, Jay here. This is smarthelping.com and we've got a new template update. It's for the Laundromat and I've updated both versions, so the standard version and the advanced version. The advanced version basically having sale leaseback, bonus depreciation, and loss carry forward logic in it. Um, so we'll start with the default version. Here's the updates I did. Revenue starts 1 month after purchase for working capital calculations. So we have an offset there now that makes it a little bit more accurate for cash flow planning, because in month one of the operation you should not have revenue available to buy the machines you're buying. So that was an update. The equity in and out schedule, which is the main thing we've been doing to all the templates, that's one of the main updates they're all getting. Sources and uses, formatting. I added some visuals for sanity checking, which shows hourly average uses per hour and I believe per day. And then I added a waterfall with joint venture and removed the old contribution distribution logic. So all this is just cleaner, more usable, a little bit, a couple more bells and whistles. So let's go through exactly the update. So number one, change of the start month. So if you go to machine configuration, whenever you pick the month purchased here, so January for all these, you can see in the revenue tab, we purchased in January, but uses in revenue doesn't actually start till February. And same with the variable costs. And our capex to buy the machine does hit in January. So that offset gives you the proper cash flow timing to show that you need to find money for this before your operations um, start producing revenue, obviously. So that was a pretty obvious update. The equity in and out schedule. So we kind of updated this whole section here is new. So we have a minimum equity required, which is still the minimum cash position that the project gets after accounting for all cash flow items. So it's the minimum of this row. But we now have an actual equity contributed amount where you're going to manually input this equity contributed here. And what you'll do is you're essentially wrapping this around the whole project. So you have your project cash flows up here, then equity injections happen here, and then you could do manual distributions, also automated distributions, however you want to do it, to show equity returns, and then ending cash balance. And your ending cash balance, you see if I put zero here, we now are in the red, showing that we are negative. So this ending cash balance is essentially your bank account, which you don't want to go below zero. So you want to put enough in there to not. So if I put in 250, not enough. We got to put in a little bit more, about 350. If we put in exactly the minimum of 346, you can see our cash balance would go to exactly zero, but never below it. So just keep in mind that you'll have to update this equity contributed row if you change your assumptions for the cost of things. Your operational activities could affect that, all kinds of stuff. So just make sure you'll see updates, because on the model here, your minimum cash projected cash balance, if this is negative, it means you didn't put enough in. And obviously on the monthly detail, this will be red if you didn't put enough in. So there's some places you can easily look to see if you need to put in more equity or not. The model also just shows project level returns. So these are automated and will automatically update because it's just using the minimum cash position. So that's using this schedule, which was part of the old template, basically just taking the negative minimum cash, or the minimum cash position, and then returns, and then this total always equals the annual details cash position at the end, 8530. See, this is 8530. So this is just basically project level returns. We did cash on cash here um, for the project, so you can see what the cash flows produced are relative to the initial investment required at minimum. Okay, so that's that. Sources and uses, pretty straightforward. Um, we have three sources here of cash, which is your equity investments, loan proceeds, and any positive operating income. And the model looks at the when the minimum cash position happens. In this case, it's in month one, and then these are all of the things that are making cash move up and down up until this month number, which it could be month 5, 6, what have you. But it's dynamic, so it'll change automatically. If you have some burn, let's say you have some running costs and things before you get going. Uh, let's say you had these starting in March, in June. We need a little bit more cash now, but you'll see now our min cash is in month 3. Here's our equity, which is too low, and you can see here's a cash reserve deficit, so we haven't put enough equity in, so we actually are short. So I'd come in here and put a little bit more. Okay, go back to sources and uses. You can see now we've got $7,000 surplus. You've got CapEx, which is mainly just going to be the machine purchases and any, if you're purchasing the building. Other initial costs, debt service, taxes, net operating income, negative net operating income. So this is your burn, and then the difference here. Those will always equal to totals. They should, as long as no formulas have been broken. And formatting updates. There's just general, couple just general formatting things. Visuals. I did add average uses per hour per machine. This was already being calculated, but it was not a visual. And average uses per day per machine. So this is a good sanity check to show, based on your assumptions, how active is each machine and is that realistic? And these are just averages, but I thought that was a good input or a visual, because the calculations were already being done here in this area. And that'll be mainly based on obviously your inputs, and then the hours open per day input right here. Okay, and then waterfall. So here's a waterfall. I use this a lot for real estate, but it can be used for any kind of joint venture. If you've got, an investor and an operator, and the investor is going to invest some money and the operator is going to run things, you can put in, so the contributions and distributions here is just based on this equity schedule here. And I forgot to mention the automatic distributions happen on the global control. Right in this part, you can put in when you want to start distributions and the minimum cash you want to keep once those start. And if you don't want to do anything, or if you want to do it manual, you could just put in, a distribution month that's past the model year, and go in here, and you can see there'll be no distributions at all until the end. It'll just distribute cash at the end, whatever that is. You could also do manual distributions here, and then the automatic, and then anything left is at the exit will be put in there. So you can see the waterfall just updates based on whatever that looks like. And then you put in the contribution rate, so how much of this initial cash required or equity injection is LP, investor contribution, versus GP. And it could be 100-0 as well. That's completely fine. And all we're doing here, you can see the waterfall calculations. And let me put that back to distributions over time. Put this back to 100-0. So this waterfall is just saying, here's the hurdles that the investor needs to get, and we're going to split cash in this way until these hurdles are met by the investor. As simple as that. If you don't care about the hurdles and you just want to split cash a certain way, you could have the same. You can just ignore the hurdles. Just make sure they're going up, like from 7 to 9 to 12, or what have you. But if this doesn't matter, you can just put in a percentage here and have it for each of them. Or you could just put like a really big number here, and then have it be, say 60-40 split the whole time. And you can see, oh no, you don't want to do that. Maybe a normal high number that you know we're not going to get to. So yeah, uh, well, 90.5. Yeah, so here we're not getting out of tier 1. And you just need to make sure tier 2 and 3 are higher than tier 1. Like this has to go up in order. But you can see here we're not getting out of tier 1 because it's 100%. So we just split cash 60-40 the whole time. Or you can do your hurdles if you want it lower and you want them to actually take into effect. You can have lower numbers. Basically, this is just a good incentive structure. It says, okay, investors, if we get you as the operators more of a higher IRR, then the GP is going to promote to a higher share of the cash flows. That's all this is saying. Pretty simple. You have contributions and then how distributions are going to happen right there. And I think that's it. We didn't know changes to the running costs, capex, all these things are worked. Income statement, balance sheet, cash flow statement. We did have to update these a little bit for the equity contribution logic, but that was it. And yeah, I think that covers all the updates. Now the advanced version, same thing. We have sources and uses. We have the equity schedule. The only difference with this is you've got all these options for advanced kind of sale leaseback logic. I did add a little thing here for renting. If you're This has nothing to do with sale leaseback. This is if you're gonna rent your building or not. Instead of just having it manually calculate here rent, you can actually configure it here just by flicking it yes or no, and then doing a rent per month per square foot and a escalator. The sale leaseback basically just allows you to say, you're going to buy. You could have a scenario where you buy the building with debt, then pay the debt off and lease. Sell the building for some kind of maybe a cash influx that could help expand or whatever, and then lease it and pay the lease to whoever you sell it to. But none of those things had to be updated. Um, the returns and the waterfall all work the same way as the regular version. So I just basically wrapped all the updates around this version as well. No changes, no logic was lost, and it still works fundamentally the same way in the operational side. So both those, if you want to download the templates, they are available. These are in the general industry section at smarthelping.com here. In the services, I think. Let's see, Laundromat. Yeah, right there, Laundromat. So the base version is only $45 one-time fee. And I'll update the screenshots to show the new things. And then the advanced version is still $99, and that's also will be updated and included. So we'll do that. Other housekeeping things I want to talk about. So custom build, if you guys want me to do work for modify an existing template or build something from scratch, I have 3 tiers: 1,500, 4,000, and 7,000. I'm switching to more of a productized service fixed price model. I do have a custom pricing here, which can be used if you want to do billable time. My rate's $275 an hour. If you want to do that instead, you can just essentially pay for a few hours at a time here, and we can go like that. Or if you want to do a fixed price, that's now available as well. I haven't done a new template in a bit. I think the last one was in April, actually, so we're due for a new one. Yeah, the personal wealth builder template was the last new thing I built. I've been doing just a lot of updates lately on models, but we'll see if I can get a new one out this month. I've got some work finally coming in this week, or possibly, so that's good. It's been I think AI has definitely changed things, and people are trying to figure out if they can replace, what I do with AI, or that's definitely a thought in people's heads. But I feel like all the work I've ever done, 90% of it is going to be tough to replace because these niche Excel templates and like going back and forth and trying to build these with AI, I feel like would be very difficult. Whenever I do a new template, the only thing I use, like I use ChatGPT Pro to help get me in the right direction for how a business works, and then what logic best is able to be built to make projections for that business and do build a model. So like all these things, I would still have to build everything, but I ask like how a certain business works, so I know what revenue options to include and all that stuff. But I actually have to build everything still and do all the connections and the accounting logic and return logic and finance stuff. All that is still has to be built and connected by me, and I don't see any quick way of bypassing that anytime soon. So hopefully customers and clients return. I feel like they will. But anyway, like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.